Russia has mastered the production of Iranian Shahed attack drones and is producing them in large quantities. In order to stop drone attacks on Ukraine, it is necessary to strike at the plant that produces them. Aviation expert Valery Romanenko expressed this opinion on the Freedom TV channel. According to him, the plant for the production of attack drones in Russia is operating at full capacity. The Russians planned to make 6,000 Shaheds by the end of the year, and they had already made them by September. On the one hand, the design became very expensive because instead of all the crap that the Iranian Shahed's body was made of, it was almost resin-impregnated cardboard. The Russians are now using very expensive carbon fiber. But at the same time, they are removing the flywheel and a number of systems from Chinese engines. That is, they are trying to reduce the cost by using elements that are not needed for a disposable product. Therefore, they are able to increase production, Romanenko said. He added that the Russians use Chinese engines to produce their Shaheds. Half of the electronics in the drones are also Chinese, but there are also American and European elements. The Russians have never had problems with the warhead. They have always had more than enough of what they can kill with. Therefore, the product is not complicated and production can be increased. But in general, they are increasing it for the time being until it arrives there. But when it arrives, then we will see how they will increase it further, the aviation expert noted. Romanenko expressed the opinion that a strike should be carried out on the Russian plant that produces drones. The most effective way to stop the Shahed raids is to destroy the nest where they are produced. Now we are preparing to produce missiles. Now we are developing jet drones. Now our drone range reaches 1,500 kilometers and Bucha, I think, is 1,300 to 1,200 kilometers. That is, drones are already preparing to fly there, he said. Around 30% of Russia's nuclear arsenal, which consists of approximately 5,580 warheads, is within range of Ukrainian drones and missiles, according to Foreign Affairs media outlet. Because Ukrainian drone assaults have already reached as far as Moscow, it is clear that at least 14 Russian nuclear storage sites now fall within range of its drones. At least 2 of those sites are less than 100 miles from the Ukrainian border, well within striking range of the more damaging missiles Ukraine already possesses, and another 5 sites lie less than 200 miles from the border, close to or just beyond the range of the advanced Western-provided missiles that Ukraine is seeking permission to use against conventional targets in Russia, Foreign Affairs says. The author of the article notes that there are no signs that Ukrainian forces are intentionally targeting nuclear warhead storage sites. However, it is the Russian government's responsibility to move its nuclear warheads out of the way of danger. Russia knows that its warheads should not be positioned anywhere near conventional military operations. After Ukraine launched its first drone and missile attacks against Belgorod in the spring of 2023, Russia quickly reported that its Belgorod storage site was no longer storing nuclear warheads, acknowledging that warheads should not be stored anywhere near active fighting. But remarkably, there have been no Russian announcements about the status of the warheads it has at any of its other storage sites, Foreign Affairs says. The author suggests several possible explanations for this. Russian leader Vladimir Putin may believe that relocating the country's nuclear warheads would be seen as a sign of weakness. The Russian leadership may be unaware of the risks posed by these warheads. The Russian military may fear that the West would misinterpret the relocation of warheads as preparation for a nuclear attack, potentially leading to a preemptive strike by NATO. The possibility that a Ukrainian drone or missile will strike a warhead and create an explosion that distributes fissile material is already a major risk, but it is not the only one. Even more dangerous is the possibility that a Ukrainian missile strike or territorial takeover could throw a storage site into operational chaos, allowing rogue actors to seize its nuclear warheads or inadvertently prompt Russian nuclear escalation, Foreign Affairs reports. The author underscores that Russia breached a sacred tenet of nuclear security by launching attacks against Ukraine from military bases that store nuclear warheads, thus making those bases a legitimate target for counter-offensives. He points out that since March 2022, Russia has been using the Engels 2 airbase to launch strikes on Ukraine with Kinzhal missiles, which are capable of carrying nuclear warheads. The author believes that there are probably dozens of nuclear warheads stored less than 4 miles from the Engels 2 base's main airfields. Russia is also thought to store dozens of nuclear warheads for short-range aircraft at the Yeysk and Morozovsk air bases. All of these air bases are known to have been attacked by Ukrainian forces multiple times. Foreign Affairs notes that a strike on a storage site would not in itself cause a nuclear explosion of the warheads. The threat arises when a warhead is outside a bunker, such as during transportation for maintenance within a storage site or at a rail transfer point. The Russian 20th Motor Rifle Division is conducting a major offensive against Ukrainian positions in Donetsk Oblast, despite suffering significant vehicle losses, according to Forbes. The situation in the Pokrovsk direction of the front in Ukraine is increasingly precarious as Russian forces intensify their offensive operations. As of early October 2024, Russian troops are reported to be within 5 to 7 kilometers of Pokrovsk, a crucial logistical hub for Ukrainian forces. Ukrainian forces have been engaged in counter-battery fire and are attempting to hold critical positions to prevent further Russian encroachment. Ukrainian 79th Air Assault Brigade, numbering approximately 2,000 personnel, faces pressure from the larger Russian division, estimated at 10,000 troops, in what appears to be a strategic push to encircle Kharkiv, Donetsk Oblast. According to Ukrainian drone operator Kriegsforscher, the situation has become close to critical for the defending forces, Forbes reports. However, Ukrainian forces have destroyed numerous Russian vehicles, including modern BMP-3s and older BMP-2s and MT-LBs. Russian losses reached 206 vehicles in a single day, compared to 49 Ukrainian vehicles lost. The Ukrainian military faces additional challenges with its forces divided between the Donetsk front and a 270-mile salient in Russia's Kursk Oblast. Kriegsforscher questions this strategic allocation of resources, stating, "While we lose so much ground in the Donetsk area, I am asking myself, what am I doing in the Kursk area?" The Ukrainian Defense Ministry is working to establish new brigades to reinforce the front line. However, these units are still in training, and equipment shortages remain a significant challenge for newly formed units. The situation in the Pokrovsk direction remains tough. At the end of October, Russian forces began assault operations, mobilizing large reserves toward the town of Selidov. Russian forces are shelling with various calibers of artillery, actively using electronic warfare systems and attempting to employ armored vehicles. In the Pokrovsk direction, Russian forces are employing large numbers of personnel and frequently using mass infantry assault tactics. Pokrovsk is strategically important and offers logistical advantages.